Assalamu alaikum, this is me, Khalid Mohammed.
Assalamu alaikum, it's me, Minnie.
Right, as a lot of you know, the SATs are quickly coming up. And therefore, what we want to do is give you some tips on how to do a better job on it. Minnie is a teacher, so she knows a lot about the process, and she has a lot of advice to give. So we're going to cover two basic areas, reading and maths. So we're going to give you some tips on how to smash them, inshallah. Be sure to watch this episode of Wagwan.
Right, so first of all, just relax. Just pretend you're reading it for fun. And if you remember everything, all the tips I'm telling you, hopefully you'll be fine. Skim over the text quickly to get the gist of what topics you're going to be covering. So, because it normally have 3 topics sometimes. It could be a poem, it could be fiction, it could be non-fiction. Just like skim over it. And then read through a section at a time. It's going to be 3 or 4 sections. So if you want to underline any keywords, numbers, maybe figures, etc., because they might ask you all the things like that, you're going to go through and look for it. So you should expect to go through it first and underline things that you might find of importance. But don't read too quickly either. Okay, try and understand what you're reading as well. So pace yourself, because they do allow you enough time to read and answer the questions as well. Then you're going to notice that on the side of the paper, obviously you'll be doing mock tests, you'll be doing practice papers, so you'll know that have marks 1 mark, 2 mark, or 3 mark. So if it's for a short answer, which is normally a 1 mark question, you'll see a little line or a box maybe. So you need to write a phrase or a word in that one there for the 1 mark. If it's a few lines, then obviously they're not going to look at the lines there just for nothing. They're not going to just waste paper. It means you're expected to write a few more words or a sentence or 2 even. And then if it's a big, you look at 3 mark ones in a box. I'll show you a bit later one of the papers. Then that's going to be, it's literally about 7 or 8 lines. So they're expecting 3 marks for that. So they're not going to just give you like bullet points, etc. You're going to need to have a more detailed answer and explain your answer. You're going to have to get evidence from the text. So you'll have to get bits out from the text and put it in for your reasoning. So if it might say, do you agree, yes or no, or maybe, then you need to give it reasons. You just can't say yes or no, or maybe. You need to actually get it from the text. And some of them, again, read it carefully. You don't. Sometimes it just require a simple tick or draw lines, matching boxes, etc., or draw circles. So you need to make sure that you read it carefully. I suggest you read the question twice or even thrice in your head, out loud to yourself, and actually see what they're asking me to do, and then start. Yes, okay. Another few things I could just quickly go through. It's the text is organized. It might be in bullet points or something, or it might even have a diagram to make things easier for you. What I would do is I would work as quickly as I can through the text, and I would just do the 1 mark questions first, or the matching up questions, etc. Or if it's got a multiple choice, they might have answers. Then you leave some more time for challenging ones. If you get stuck on a question, I wouldn't just sit there and go through and wait and then realize the time's ticking when I could be moving on with the paper. Because it is time. It's literally not even 1 second over. As soon as the hour's over, you're going to have to finish. Whether you're not going to have time to put a full stop in, nothing. So don't waste time, because you'll always come back and you'll always find a way. Try and put something down, because you don't know. You might get it just by chance, the answer. Okay, again, the reading paper, I find sometimes the kids find it's the most challenging paper. So I would just read a story at a time. Don't read the whole booklet. I mean, these are just my tips. You don't have to follow them, obviously. If your teacher taught you something different, then fine, you go by whatever your teacher told you. But just for me, I've told my children, my class, just read a story at a time. Then open up the test paper, and then you'll see in bold at the top, it says what questions. Let me just put it in here. Yeah. So this is obviously back to front. But then at the I don't know if you can. Okay, you can see that it's in bold here. Okay. So what I'll do is it will tell you what pages the question is, or what questions I want you to answer on. So it might say pages 1 to 4. So you don't have to fumble through the whole booklet looking. So it's just that page. It's quite specific. Okay, so you need to make sure you read what's on top. That's the most important thing. That's the first thing you should be doing, reading that. Again, questions, read them carefully, highlight, keywords, info. Then go back to the text, look for the keyword. So if they're talking about how many months did it take for him to do his challenge, then you look for the word months. You just scan through and look for the word month. It might be before the word, it might be after the word. It might even be in the sentence, but you need to look around that area. Don't expect it to be just looking at you, because it won't be. This is obviously to see how you understand. They're not going to give it to you on a plate. They're not going to make it that easy. Then go back, like I said, go back to the text, find the word, skim and scan, and then read around the text to get your answer. Sometimes you might see a word, you don't know what it means, but what you have to try and do is you have to try and guess that word, and try and see, look at it in the content of that of that sentence, and see, well, you know, I'm not sure what it means, but from the rest of the sentence, I think it might mean that, and try and have that in your head. I mean, obviously, there's words. Not everyone knows a dictionary off by heart. I don't know loads of words. Okay, so just try and put it in the content of that, and try and see if you can understand. Another good idea is look for the root word. So can't think of anything. Okay, like maybe disciplinary, if the word come up, but then you could look at the word and think, oh, the root word is discipline, so that means, okay, you know what discipline means. So try and work around the root word and then put that word in content, and you might, 9 times out of 10 you will figure out what it means. Okay, you'll have an inkling anyway. What else? Okay, again, I said if you can't do a question, go back to it. Timing is very important. So how I try to tell my children is that if it's going to be halfway through the exam, like if you start your exam, you won't start exactly at 9. Let's just say we start at 9:30, we've got till 10:30. So you know 10 o'clock is a halfway mark, so you should be really halfway through your paper by then. If you're way behind, then you need to speed up a little bit. If you're too fast, then maybe you haven't gone back and you've missed bits out, or you're rushing, or you panic. I mean, it's only natural to be nervous. It's only natural, and to either slow down or be too quick. Again, another thing, what some children make mistakes is if it says tick 3 boxes, tick 3 boxes. Don't tick 2, don't tick 1, don't tick 4, or don't tick any. Tick 3, because that's where sometimes you lose silly little marks, and these marks all add up. For example, you might have a 2-mark question, and it might say tick 3 things, and you might get the 1 mark if you get 2 right, etc. So it's important to see what it's asking you to do. Another thing, some question might say, find and copy a word or a phrase. Do that. It's not asking for a whole sentence. Just copy that word or a phrase, like 2 words. It's not asking for the whole thing, because you won't get that mark. You won't get that mark. Again, if it's an opinion, make sure it links back to the text. Okay, an opinion is what you think. A fact is true. Okay, you know that anyway. So, okay, again, we just spoke about it. 3-mark questions. They're longer. They're there for a reason. You can put them in bullet points. If you are going to have how can I put this? If you are going to have 3 points, put them in bullet points and then your reason. Second bullet point and then your reason. Third. So it's a bit more easier and clearer for the reader to mark when they're going to be marking. Again, when sometimes they might say, why are the words in bold? A lot of common mistakes children write are because they're standing out. No, you do not write, it stands out. It's there for a reason. It's there for maybe to introduce a topic, or it's a subheading, or it's put important information in there, etc., etc. Yeah, that's it. I think for this reading paper, I think that's all I'm going to say. Okay. I know it seems like a lot, because there really is a lot to remember. But if you just look at the basics, just read it, understand it, and do it. Basics.
Okay, so what we're going to do now, we're going to quickly jump onto the maths.
Arithmetic paper is half an hour. It's 35 questions. Some of them are 2-mark questions. You would have been practicing in class, because this is a paper that's going to get you the most marks and give you a head start for the rest of them. So just try your best on arithmetic paper. If you're still not confident enough, there are practice papers online. Just go to Google, type in Key Stage 2 arithmetic papers, and so many things will come up. Another good, really, really good website is www.satspapers.org.uk. That's a really good one. That's got the papers on there for the last over 10 years. It's got the papers, it's got the mark scheme, it's got everything. So if you're not sure about the answer, or your parents are not sure, or whoever's looking after you not sure, they can go to the mark scheme and they can have a look, and you can mark it online as well, or not online, but as you go along. And then if sometimes what I do is, if I've got the answer and my answer's wrong, I look at the mark scheme, I get the answer, then I try to work backwards and work out the answer. And 9 times out of 10 you can do that. You will be able to work it out. Yeah, and then you're going to have reasoning papers 2 and 3. They're 45 minutes each, and a lot of them are word problems. There will be like things like that. So again, you can use, obviously we use, some schools still use rucksack. Each letter stands for something. So R is read, U is for understand, C is for choose, S is for solve, A is for answer, and C is for check. So read. So have you read the problem? Have you understood it? Again, highlight, etc. It doesn't matter if it's cats or dogs or pigs or anything. We're just interested in the number. So look out for the basic information. Look at what operation they're asking you for. Are they asking you to all together? Is it what's left? Is it shared equally? So you should know all these different words for the 4 operations. Like for multiplication, you should know product. Product is one that get confused on. Product means multiplication, times by that number. Again, groups of is division, etc., etc. So you should know that. So read. R, have you read the problem? Do you understand what you're doing? Okay, so U is for understand what they're asking you to do. C, so then you choose your operation. Do you need to add it, take it away, multiply it, or divide it? Solve. S is for solve. Can you get the answer from working out the problem? A is for answer. Can you write your answer? Sometimes it's good if you have time to do the inverse. Double check the answer to make sure you have got it right. And the last one, check. Okay, just can you check you got the right answer? Sometimes the estimation is good as well beforehand, because I've seen sometimes children do things like 0.2 add 5 point something and it's 10. And I'm like, well, how can 5 add nothing be 10? So you have to sometimes think logically that as my answer, does it actually make sense? It's worth just doing that, getting into good habits before that. Then on the day you don't have to be rushing and panicking trying to remember all these tips and trying to cram it all in. Yeah, basically I'm just going to show you a quick I'm just going to look at the wrong screen. This is the arithmetic paper. You've got all these little grids, okay? These are there for you to work out. They're there for you to use. So make sure you do your working out, because sometimes it might be a 2-mark question, and what you're going to do is if you get your working out or you've got the basic first steps right and you make a silly mistake, they might give you 1 mark for that. So lots of children I've seen, they just do it mentally. And then I'm like, well, why didn't you do that? Because you would have lost that mark.
To show they're working out.
To show they're working out. Because sometimes you can't do things. Okay, you can do most of them mentally. On this paper, to be honest, you can do most of them mentally. But there are about 5 or 6 questions. You are going to have to show you're working out. Because obviously you're going to be looking at the time and you're going to be thinking, oh my God, let me finish it. It's not worth finishing the paper in 10 minutes and getting half of them wrong. I would suggest you go back, take your time. There are some of them, the first few are really easy. Very, very easy. And towards the end, it gets a little bit like more fractions. I know children struggle with fractions, etc. But please try and show you're working out. Because, like I said, estimation is very important. All that space is there for you to use. They're not just putting it there for nothing. So as long as you have your answer in the little box, and that's the main thing. If your answer is wrong, cross it out and then write the answer in the box. If you've got no space, try and put it as close to the box as possible. Because anything around, if your answer box is here and your answer there, they're not going to
associate that.
Yeah, so they're not going to link it. They haven't got time, these examiners. They have to mark thousands. They've got to mark the whole country's papers, and they have a deadline for you to get results in time. So they are not going to be able to try and link things. No, so it needs to be in the box, and it needs to be clear. Lots of children I've seen, they'd 4 look like a 9, the 9 looks like a 4, the 8. I don't know. You just need to really make sure your answers are clear. Your teacher, like, I know my children's handwriting. And I know to them, I'll just say to them, oh, okay, that's a 4. But I know it. I'll give you the mark. But the examiner doesn't know you. Okay, so just things like that are really, really important and may make a big difference. 1 mark will make all the difference.
So there you go, guys. Minnie's got 10 years of experience, working with children on an ongoing basis. Again, any of the tips don't work for you, as Minnie said before. If there's some of the tips that don't work for you, or your teachers told you something differently and that works for you, what's more important is if it works for you, you do that. If this works for you, you do that. We do encourage you to do your research as well, and we do wish you all the best on your exams when they come up soon, inshallah. Once again, if you haven't subscribed, hit that button right there, inshallah, and subscribe, and we'll speak to you guys soon next year on Wagwan.